Yeah, but if you get people's hopes up and then it doesn't happen, they're going to be let down. No, it doesn't work that way. The mature Christians, spiritually mature, will continue to long for his return. And here's what that sounds like, by the way. We're that much closer.
It really isn't right for a pastor who sets himself up as one who encourages the body of Christ with these words that he speaks every week to then blame his audience for being disappointed when his own words fail. Yeah, that's called gaslighting your audience. Check out this video. It's a little bit lengthy, but it really gets into some very revealing comments that guys like JD Farag make when they cannot deny any longer that they have been making promises for a long time about a soon rapture to heaven, getting you out of your troubles, and then it keeps failing, whether they set dates or not. It's very revealing how they respond to that and how they treat their audience. This is more than gaslighting. This is cult leader stuff right here. All right, so JD Farag just got finished defending the pre-trib rapture again in this video. And the title of this video, by the way, is What If the pre-trib rapture is about to happen? What if? And any one of you who have watched JD for as long as I have, which is pretty much for as long as he's been doing this, he states consistently and constantly, almost every week, the pre-trib rapture is about to happen. We know it. Here's proof. God has shown me things that I need to tell you today from behind my pulpit as a pastor. And these things that I'm showing you that God has told me about are from him, and they prove a pre-trib rapture is about to happen. And then he makes a video like, what if? What if it's about to happen? So right away, that's pretty inconsistent.
Okay. We have a problem. What's the problem? The problem is, Pastor, you're doing it again. Because what you're doing is you're getting people's hopes up, and then if it doesn't happen now, they'll fall away.
Okay, so first of all, just notice that he is the one bringing up this problem. People didn't go up on stage and say, hey, wait a minute, JD Farag. Here you go again, telling people that the pre-trib rapture is about to happen. He brought this up. So do you notice that he's admitting that this is an issue? He's going to try to do away with that problem. He's going to try to defuse that bomb here, which is disturbing. But he is recognizing that there is a bomb that he has to defuse. See, I don't care if you're a Christian or an atheist, and I don't care what you are promising somebody every week, whether you're promising them that the rapture is soon going to save you from your troubles in this life, or if you're promising your mom you'll come and visit her soon because you live in another state and she hasn't seen you in 2 years, and oh yeah, Mom, I'm going to come visit you soon. If you kept telling somebody that every week, even if you're the biggest dirtbag in the world, you probably are going to eventually start feeling a little bit of guilt and shame because the thing you keep promising keeps failing to materialize. And you're going to start feeling, maybe it's not guilt or shame, maybe it's something like, gosh, these people are starting to not like me anymore. I mean, if I was them, I probably wouldn't like me anymore after all these years. So something is going on here. Something is making him say this.
I don't mean to sound mean when I say this, but I say this nonetheless. If that happens, it speaks more to one's spiritual immaturity. Yeah, I said it.
Right, and so he knows that that's offensive, and he has no biblical basis for saying that, and he wants to run away from his responsibility. Okay, the onus is not on him, the messenger, even though his entire message every week for years is that his audience is going to be leaving soon to heaven to escape all of their current troubles. That's his entire message, and it doesn't happen, and yet he doesn't want to bear any responsibility at all, or at least he doesn't want to bear most of it, because he said, really, mostly that's on you. So, by the way, I listened to this whole thing several times. He never once took any responsibility for what he has been saying. He didn't even say things like, well, I do understand why you feel that way, and so I have to take on a little bit of that responsibility since I am a pastor in a pulpit and I am saying things like this using authority of God that God has given me, and so I see why you might be a little upset at me. That's okay. No, he says none of that. He takes no responsibility.
And here's why I said it. When one longs for the Lord's appearing in the pre-tribulation rapture, it comes packaged with long-suffering. A longing. Just by virtue of its implication, when you say, you don't get people's hopes up. Wait a minute. That's what... No! That is your hope. I want you to get your hopes up. No, but you'll just be disappointed. No. No one who puts their hope in the Lord will ever be disappointed.
Wow. I mean, there's just so much here to unpack. I'm not even sure where to start. I mean, so first of all, did you notice how he does this? This is how cult leaders operate. And again, I'm not saying this is a bona fide cult, but it's very cult-like. So he just changed the words he uses every week with the soon rapture to actually they're God's words. God is the one who has been saying this to you every week. And no one who believes God and the hope that God has given will be disappointed. So now he wants to change things up so that if you're blaming me for your hopes being dashed because of my words, well, you're actually blaming God. So now not only are you really not a very good Christian because you're putting too much faith in what I'm saying, but you're also not a good Christian because you're not putting enough faith in what God is saying. He also says that that with the hope is a longing, a long suffering, and he's like interchanges those two words, and that's again saying to the audience, it's gaslighting the audience, saying, with the hope that I'm giving you, and the longing that I'm fanning the flames of to get you more and more hopeful every week, along with that comes some responsibility on your part. Okay, you need to be long-suffering and patient. Again, gaslighting. So that is classic cult-like behavior. And then finally, he admits totally that his goal every week is to get your hopes up. He used that actual phrase. I'm doing this to get your hopes up. So I just would wonder what would happen if J.D. Farag had a scenario where someone was getting his hopes up every week about something. Like let's say his daughter was engaged to a wonderful man, and you really love this man, and they haven't set a date for the wedding yet, and the engagement's been going on for some time now, like 2 years, and one day the guy's like, hey, I know you're really wanting me to get married to your daughter. I want you to know I'm going to marry her soon. Okay, it's coming soon. I will make it happen. And JD starts feeling excited, and then months go by, and he still doesn't set a date. And then your daughter comes along every once in a while, feeling really hopeful. Hey, Dad, I really think he's ready. We were talking last night. He's talking about buying a house pretty soon. He keeps talking about how much he longs to be a family. I mean, I really think he's gonna make a commitment, and we're gonna set a date here. And you're all excited again, and she's all excited, and then More months go by and more months go by. They stretch into years. Now it's 5, 6 years since they got engaged. You're starting to get angry. You're tired of watching the disappointment on your little girl's face as she continues to be disappointed by this person. Are you going to blame your daughter? Are you going to blame yourself for being disappointed and angry? I mean, after all, he never gave a day or an hour. He didn't set any dates, J.D. Farag. He just said soon. See, if the tables were turned the other way, I think he would see things a little differently. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so again, J.D. Farag admits that his goal with his videos is to get people's hopes up, and that he's just encouraging the body of Christ with rapture any second now. Your troubles are soon going to be over.
Yeah, but there was this one guy, not me. He said, yeah, the rapture's going to be this year. And then everybody's like, okay, yay. And
actually, he's lying. He has said things just like that. The rapture is going to be this year. Go back and check his videos from late July of 2020, as the COVID thing was just really on fire. And they were talking about vaccines. And he states explicitly, there's no question what he is saying. Late July 2020, he stood behind that pulpit and with his own mouth stated, we're not going back to normal until there's a vaccine. That's what they have said. But there's good news. We will be raptured before there is a vaccine. He said that outright, blatantly. And he said the vaccines are coming in January of 2021, which they did. So he blatantly stated that. J.D. Farag has also said multiple times, we are the last generation of world history as we know it. This generation, the people who are alive today, J.D. has said over and over and over and over and over and over again, we are the ones who will be raptured. Does he think of himself as being raptured? Yeah. Does he think there's a possibility that he might die before then? Sure, absolutely he does. He's not putting a solid date and time in it. But again, it's again this vague, any second now, it's soon, you're the last generation is going to happen to all of us watching and listening and hoping, quote unquote. That's the message. So I don't care if you set January 1st, 2024. It doesn't matter. You're still doing the same thing.
And then it didn't happen, and then now they don't want anything to do with the Lord, the things of God, the church. Oh, well, I have a question for you, and again, I don't mean to sound mean, but were they really born-again Christians to begin with? And if they were, and you can't judge the motive of someone's heart. We can see the fruit of one's life. I mean, the Lord knows. But if that's the depth of spiritual character and maturity that you have, then I don't think the onus is on someone who's wanting to encourage God's people about the rapture of the church happening sooner than we think.
Very interesting again here. Just notice a bunch of things. So, first of all, it doesn't matter if people are falling away or not. I mean, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't really know. Okay, that actually isn't. What's really important here is his reaction and response to the idea that people could be falling away. That's what's important. The man is taking the Lord's name in vain every week, because every week he says in God's name from behind a pulpit, Jesus is coming soon. In your lifetime, you just have to hang on a little longer. You're out of here. He says that every week, and he knows it. That's why he's doing this little video. Okay, so let's cut the crap. I don't care if he. So then he uses the example of some guy, not me, giving a date, and then he mocks the people who fall away because the date came and went and nothing happened. He mocks them. So notice his reaction is not, first of all, Well, you know what? Shame on a person who is giving a date like that. Shame on people who really preach specific time frames. Not me, but shame on if a pastor is leading somebody down a road like that, then they really should take responsibility and try to help that person come back to the Lord. No, not at all. Not one thing about it. It's all their fault. Once again, so the second thing you guys need to listen. I mean, what did he just say? He questioned the depth of their spirituality because they listened to a guy who said the rapture is soon and it's within the next week or so or whatever, and it failed to materialize, so now they've fallen away. He questions the depth of their spirituality. Two things about that. First of all, some of these people are new baby Christians, so they don't have any depth. They just got saved maybe by watching your videos, JD. You say people get saved all the time watching your videos, so maybe they just got saved, and in that video where they were watching when they got saved and you told the ABCs, they had heard before that, like, well, based on the news and the COVID shots, we're out of here soon. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we're out of here by the end of September, is what you've said. And they believe you, JD. So their depth of spirituality is not very, it's pretty shallow because they're new, and they're listening to you. So now you don't want them to listen to you? Second of all, you're tacitly admitting, yeah, my weekly updates on my prophecy updates, they're not very deep. They're pretty shallow. Because if you're putting a lot of your emphasis in your faith in Christ on what I say about the rapture every week, you're not very deep. So thank you, JD Farag, for finally admitting that Bruce Peters has been saying the right thing all this time. This is entertainment. His weekly fake prophecy updates, because I call them fake because they're not prophecy. They're J.D. Farag's speculation and sensationalism. Every week he uses God's name to entertain the masses, to entertain the flock, to entertain this semi-cult-like group of people who are now going to be really mad at me again for pointing out what he's saying. I'm just pointing out what the guy is saying. So that's cult-like when you can't face the facts, when your cult leader is saying crappy things and not taking responsibility for his own words, and you're just going to defend him and pass this video around of him saying, hey, if you've been listening to me all these years and you're all mad at me for the rapture not happening soon like I said it would, and you're disappointed and mad about that, well, that's your fault. Wow.
Here's how I get there. 2 Timothy chapter 4. There is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all, as you and me, who have longed, keyword, underscore, highlight, bold, italics, you can color whatever color you want. All who have longed for his appearing.
Okay, so it says loved his appearing in the KJV, but whatever. If you want to say longed for, loves, whatever. If you love his appearing, okay. JD, no one needs to watch you. In fact, you could just go away and never say another word about this, and the entire Christian world, believe it or not, could long for his appearing. If that's what you believe that is the rapture and whatever, it's kind of funny that you believe an appearing of the Lord is actually the disappearing from the planet of Christians, but whatever. I'm not going to argue about that right now. They can long and love his appearing without listening to you at all. You can long and love his appearing without predicting anything at all. You can leave all the predictions off the table and just long for it. Okay? Is that not true? Are those two things not separate from one another? And that's one of the biggest things. These guys strive really hard. These watch liars, they want to suck you in by saying, well, longing for, loving his appearing is the same as predicting and speculating about it every day, and trying to get everybody all hyped up over it, and getting all people fantasizing about that they're not going to be here in a month and all their troubles are going to fall away. And then, it doesn't happen. They're all disappointed. Well, you're still supposed to want it. So I'm going to get you going again here. Just give me time. I mean, that's what they think that verse means, or that's what they preach that verse means. That's not what it means.
In other words, it's not a disappointment. It's just a longing.
Okay, those are two separate things, JD. They're disappointed because you promised and it didn't come to pass.
Yeah, but if you get people's hopes up and then it doesn't happen.
See, he knows that. He's just thinking the same thing I'm saying.
Be let down. No.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it does work that way. Yeah, it does, JD.
The mature Christians, spiritually mature,
okay,
will continue to long for his return.
What are you actually saying there, JD? The mature Christian will continue to watch my videos. Is that what you're really saying? And again, I will repeat. Many people who watch this nonsense are not mature Christians. They're baby Christians. And I shudder to think about the responsibility that you're taking on by telling them, these baby Christians, every week, you're getting out of here soon, just get ready to fly. And then they don't. And then they're like, you know what? To heck with this whole thing. I was told a year ago by this guy, he's a pastor in a pulpit, and he told me I need to get on the ark because this 7-year tribulation is about to start. But the good news is I'm going to get taken away to heaven out of all my troubles before that happens if I just believe in Jesus. So I believe in Jesus, and then now I'm ready to go. And here we are a year later, and nothing has happened. And he's been saying this every week. And you know what JD says about that person? Screw you. That's your fault.
And here's what that sounds like, by the way. We're that much closer. In fact, now I'm even more hopeful. Okay, let me try this again.
Yeah, see, and throughout this thing, he's reading his audience, and they're looking at him like quizzically, like, okay, how does that answer the problem? The problem is your promises fail, and you don't want to take responsibility. Now you just want to, again, more gaslighting and distract people with, no, over here, quick, over here, before it gets back on me again. Over here, guys, over here. One day closer, right? One day closer. So don't look at me. See. It's like, why didn't you say that before? How come you didn't say one day closer when you were preaching this behind the pulpit before? Why did you instead say things like, it's right now, it's here. This is how it ends. We're at the end, and this is how it ends. That's a lot different than one day closer, isn't it?
The day comes and goes. Nope, no date setting. The day comes and goes. I thought for sure, man, this is it.
Hang on, you got to hear that one again. Just listen to what the guy said. Just listen to this. It's unbelievable.
Date setting. The day comes and goes. Nope, no date setting. The day comes and goes. I thought for sure, man, this is it.
The day comes and goes. Not date setting, but the day comes and goes. What? See, and I love that because it's very revealing. Like, yeah, he doesn't set a date or time, but he knows that days are coming and going constantly.
I guess not. Well, guess what? You're one day closer to when it will.
Okay.
So what's your problem?
By the way, that doesn't mean soon. One day closer is not the same as it's soon. We're one day closer till the sun explodes. I mean, if you believe that sort of thing. I'm just making a point. One day closer is not the same as soon.
That was mean. So what's your problem? That was mean. I could have probably said that differently.
Yeah, you could have, JD. And here's the thing I see about you all the time, mister. You say something really jerky and mean, and then rather than apologizing and not doing it again, You go, well, I should have said that differently. Oh, well, I'm J.D. Farag. I can say whatever I want.
Yes, there are those who so long for his return in the rapture that they are let down when it doesn't happen at the time that they had hoped.
Wait a minute. Are you now admitting that people do react that way?
And thought it would. I get it.
Okay. Are you sort of apologizing now?
Of course, this is understandable, but please listen to me on this.
Now, here is where I'm about to wrap this up, because here is where he decides, let me distract them again. I'm going to try another way to distract them so I don't have to take responsibility for what I said.
I doubt anyone post-rapture will ever regret having always been ready pre-rapture. Are you kidding me right now? I know this is going to be an absurd, silly way to illustrate it, but you'll get the point. Could you imagine after the trumpet sounds, dead in Christ rise first, we meet the Lord in the air, we go to that place that he prepared for us, we're forever with the Lord. I like how one said it, I have no problem in my life right now that the rapture won't solve.
Right, see, sorry to pause, but right there, that's the escapism that people like me are talking about. Not escapism from a 7-year tribulation, escapism from right now. You see, his message every week is getting people's hopes up that they're going to escape today's troubles, their own trials in their own life, not a 7-year tribulation. That's not really the message. None of them care about any 7-year tribulation. In fact, they say, bring it on, because they're not going to be here for it. They want out of here because they want out of here and the here and now.
I mean, that's it.
And who wouldn't like that message, by the way?
Can you imagine somebody post-rapture going, man, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have been as prepared.
Right.
In what universe does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, you can be as passionate as you would like, JD, but that's not the point. That's not the point. You're not getting people ready, getting their hopes up about a soon coming rescue from your troubles to heaven, only to be disappointed week after week, year after year, now into your second decade of doing this. That's not preparing anyone. That doesn't glorify Jesus Christ at all. In fact, I dare say it takes away from his glory, because you use his name and his truth, and you say, well, I'm a Christian and I bear the name of Christ, but I stand behind a pulpit and I tell you things that don't happen every day. I promise you things that never come to pass in his name. So I think that does the opposite of glorify Christ. It certainly doesn't edify anybody, and it doesn't prepare anyone, even in your own viewpoint. Because your viewpoint says if you're a believer in Jesus, you're going in the rapture. You don't have to be watching. You don't have to even believe in a rapture. You're still going in it. Do you notice how he tries to change this whole thing into, you know what, my ongoing promises of a soon getting out of here are really just to prepare you. So not to promise anything, just to prepare you. So why are you getting mad at me? I'm just preparing you. Like I said, it's extremely telling the response that these people give when challenged with the bare naked truth. It's a bare naked truth. They cannot respond any other way than, yeah, that's true. We are not in heaven. You just can't deny that. And you also can't deny that I promised that we would be in heaven by now. You can't deny that, because it's all on record and you know what you were saying. So pay attention to how these guys react to that. It's very, very telling. Do they really represent Christ? Do you want these type of people out there representing Jesus Christ in the gospel? I sure don't.